Good day, everyone. Paul Lawrence Vann here. Glad that you could be with me. Of course, this YouTube channel is all about leadership, and leadership is influence, and it's a very important aspect of how organizations, companies, and businesses get things done because overall, it's all about the business performance. And that's where I come in because I want to help you to become a better leader and ultimately become a leader of influence. Let me give you just a little bit of background about me for those who are viewing this for the very first time. Paul Lawrence Vann is the name. I'm a leadership expert, and I have attended every leadership school that the Air Force had to offer when I was on as a military officer for over 20 years. And not only do I have that leadership training, but also experiences leading people and managing resources and things. And so as a result, it ultimately came down to me providing my strength via these YouTube videos to help people to become better leaders. And what I want to talk about today is that you can gain leadership development and experiences, and it doesn't have to come from the company that you work for. For example, if you happen to volunteer for an organization, there are opportunities there. For example, some of them could be if you're with Toastmasters International, or if you decide you want to go with after school program. There are many, many ways of doing it. Or even if you're leading a sports team for children, that's a leadership opportunity there as well. So you can gain a leadership experience, and it doesn't have to come from working on a job, the job that you actually work on. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today, and this will help you to better understand. I'm looking at, after I retired from the Air Force, I volunteered for a couple of things. One, I volunteered for the Olympic Committee to bring it to Washington, D.C. for the 2012 Olympics, which of course we know that London hosted that Olympic Summer Games, which they did a great job. But I happen to think we could have done better. And so I was in support of Washington, D.C. and Baltimore as being the host site for that 2012 games. Now, mind you, I had not had any experience with the Olympics before, even though I was a student athlete in high school and college. And so I brought to bear those leadership experiences and the training that I received in the Air Force. And I worked with experts on that Olympic committee, people who had done it before. And ultimately, I was doing all the interviews for them. So they had an individual was designated to do the interviews, but sometimes they were not able to make it to the different venues. For example, the Inner Harbor in Baltimore, or at George Mason University for Youth Sports Day or Olympic Day at George Mason University. So I stepped in and I interviewed with different I had different interviews with different television stations in Baltimore and Washington, D.C. And so it gave me a lot more experiences. And on that Youth Sports Day, I was actually leading 12 former Olympians, and they conducted a Youth Sports Day at George Mason University. And this was in support of Washington, D.C. And so the mayor was out there. We had other people, the president from the university, and then me. And it's something that I didn't expect would happen, but it did, and it worked out just great. So I was honing even more leadership development skills, and that's what's most important. Or when I retired, I also was on a financial working group for the governor of the state of Maryland. And in so doing, I could bring my financial expertise into play, which I did. And I also interviewed members of the Maryland legislature as we were working to get financial literacy into schools as an option at that time. And now, looking back at it years later, and that was Senate Bill 500 for the state of Maryland, now it's mandatory. In fact, my son, who's in the 10th grade this year, he actually took the financial literacy course, and all came from the foundation of what we did back in about the 2002 timeframe. So it went from an elective to mandatory. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that in 2008, 2009, of course, we had the economic crisis, or what we call the Great Recession. And so it was good to see that the Board of Education or the state, they saw that this is something that young children need today. They need to understand money. They need to know the entire process because it will affect them more than it will you or I in the future. And so these opportunities are really invaluable, and it doesn't cost anything except time. And it also takes into account commitment. And that's what we want to do. So we don't necessarily have to receive that leadership training from our employer, but we can get it from other sources such as volunteering. And so you want to look right now and make an assessment today, looking at some of the volunteer work you've done in the past. And you know what you're passionate about. Likelihood is you're volunteering for something that you really love to do. In other words, you would do it for free, because in most cases you are doing it for free, but you want to learn from it, and you want to document that I participated as a volunteer for this, that, or the other organization, a nonprofit, sports team, working on an initiative for a governor, are doing it for a mayor of a city. And so all of these things, they make a tremendous difference in it helping provide that leadership development. Now, some of the other advantages of having acquiring leadership development skills is that number one, it sharpens everyone's communication skills. I think communications is the number one thing that helps people to actually accomplish and complete the vision, the goals, and the mission of an organization, so that people can better understand how to work with a team and boost the teamwork and collaboration. Because in the end, you get a lot more done. If you have one person who has to come up with all the ideas, all of the strategy, all of the tactics to get something accomplished, that will burn that person out and may not get the best idea. But if you had two, three, four people with different ideas, you could brainstorm it, you can get it done a lot quicker, and it's not a burden on one individual to come up with the answers for everything, because in essence, we're in the leadership role, even without the leadership title, to solve problems and make more things more efficient and more productivity, and helping the organization along. So that innovation really helps out. The other thing is that it helps guide a business towards success and growth opportunities. And this is most important, and that's why organizations exist. You exist to get better, to be better, and to become more competitive in your industry. And so you can never downplay that. But again, if you're playing your role as an employee and you don't have the leadership title, you still have leadership abilities that you can develop as an employee because you're part of the team. And when these collaborations take place, you can play an integral role in them. And then it also helps to manage change and demonstrates that what adaptability looks like. Because we know with every passing day, especially post-pandemic, things are changing at such a rapid pace. You know, we have the technology out here, the chat GPT and AI and all the things that go along with that. Will this replace people? I don't think so. Will it make a difference? It can. And then will people be able to keep it such that it doesn't create false narratives on other people? For example, the other day I saw that someone conducted an interview for someone, but it was a virtual interview. It wasn't the individual themselves. It's a program that was a part of the AI that they came up with. So we also have to look at that taking place. And then the next thing, why it's important to have leadership development, it demonstrates confidence and authority in project leadership, because the more leadership development that you have and the skills, qualities, traits, and abilities that you have, it strengthens the organization. And in fact, if a company were being purchased by another company, part of what they would look at would be the level of intellect and expertise that the organization has. So there's a valuation that goes along with it as well. So the more people you have with leadership development skills, the more you would pay for that property. It's the best way to explain it. So there are different ways. And then lastly, it promotes an educating, empowering, and encouraging company culture. And that plays a pivotal role in the workplace and the workforce. So when we look at it, leadership development and acquiring that is very important. And it's something that you shouldn't forget. But remember, it doesn't always have to come from inside the company. It can be outside the doors. It can be in a volunteer capacity. And the sooner you learn this, the better, because it's going to give you a competitive advantage, not only for your organization and the team and the projects you work on, but also against your competitors that you go up against. So again, the advantages of having leadership development training, it helps sharpens everyone communication skills, helps build a business towards success and growth opportunities. It helps to manage change and demonstrate what adaptability looks like. And it also demonstrates confidence and authority in project leadership. And lastly, it promotes an educating, empowering, and encouraging company culture. And these are all very important. And I would love to connect with you even more. I know many of you have been going in and subscribing to Leadership is Influence, to the video channel that I have. Many of you have liked a lot of what you've seen. You've subscribed, and I appreciate each and every one of you for that. And I would really recommend that you pass this on to your colleagues, your peers, your family, and your friends, because we can all learn something new. I learn more than anyone because that's just the type of person I am. I'm very inquisitive. I ask a lot of questions, and it's one of the keys to success. If you don't have any questions, then that means you know everything you need to know. And we know with each passing day, things change, and we have to adapt to that and become more flexible. But you can learn more about my leadership development programs. Just go to this link that you see near my name, https://www.paulvannspeaks.com. And you will see just a laundry list of the different leadership workshops that I offer to my clients, and of which you can be a part of it. So let your management know that you're interested in bringing me in, and I will be glad to come in and provide some leadership development training. And again, it's really all about you developing your leadership skills. It's one of the most important and one of the most impactful skills anyone can have. You can separate yourself from others. You can help your organization to become better, and not only in the workplace, but in the workforce as well. So this is going to conclude today's session, and I really appreciate you taking the time out to listen. And I want you to become a better leader, and I want you to want to be a better leader. And ultimately, what I want for you is to become a leader of influence, where you help develop other leaders along your journey, because I know that you can do it. I did it. And I have a new book coming out, and that book is titled Leadership is Influence. And I also have a course out there, How to Become a Leader of Influence, and I provide speeches on it as well. So my entire brand is really all about leadership. And a lot of people, they kind of sell themselves short and thinking, well, you know, leadership is not really me. But if you have a life, which if you're watching this, you do have a life, then you have a life to lead. So you are a leader. Everyone has to lead their life. Even if you don't lead it properly, you're still leading your life. So it would behoove you to learn as much as you can, understand the qualities of a good leader, understand the traits, the characteristics. All of these things matter. So this is going to conclude this session, and thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Leadership is Influence. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you on the next video.